The aggressive nature, based on what I saw, based on this episode, based on episode two of "With You, our love will make it through." I kind of want to first want to say here, this was very ingenious, very in such a not malicious, basic kind of way, but more of a way that you basically would see basically from an animal from a different kind of perspective. I want to go back to my episode one review where I definitely said that I don't support bestiality or anything like that. I don't support it or anything like that. I don't want people to really think that I really definitely support that because I really don't. Some people will probably would label this anime just basically as a bestiality, basically kind of like an anime basic aspect. Some people would probably would label basically just basic of that. Now, do I definitely think this is a soft corn, basic kind of like anime, basic kind of like it is. Basically, in around basic, it is kind of like a soft, it's basically kind of like a soft corn, basic into that. Basically, like kind of like it's kind of like a rom-com mix into basically like the furry, basically, and basic of that kind of basically that kind of realm. I have never seen basically an anime that would basically would you just basically just have a basically like a furry person who's a beast folk who falls in love with the basically with the girl. The thing about this, I want to explain something very important for people to really basically understand. When you have like an animal that comes up to you, like a dog or maybe like any kind of animal, let's just say based for a dog, basically very important, basically different aspects. You have a dog. Your dog comes up to you, greets you, and loves to see you, and it gets very excited to see you. Jumps up and down, and jumps on you and gives you kisses and stuff like that. That's the excitement. Basically, animal really definitely has. Sometimes you have to tell the animal, say, down, boy, sit. Down, boy. Down, girl, sit. Down, stop that. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. And that's just basically in the realm that basically what an owner basically would say, or like a mommy or daddy or something like that. People like to definitely do that. Some people will probably say like good boy or good girl, or you being a you being a bad girl, you being a bad boy, or something like that. Basically, but not like saying it like to a child, basically saying like to an animal, basically in sort of way. An animal do have excitements basically in themselves. They definitely do. They really definitely do have that excitement basically, they definitely do. Basically, they definitely do. When you basically read a sign basically for animals, to be honest with you, I'm not a dog whisperer face kind of guy. I know there's a guy who calls himself, I can't remember his name. He calls himself the dog whisperer. He's a guy who knows all about animals, especially dogs and stuff like that. He can read the natures based on dogs because he's kind of related basically, I guess we'll say that the dogs are basically kind of related based to him because humans and dogs are not related, but they both have different, very different good instinct between each other because they definitely do share a very good bond. I mean, a very strong bond between each other. But even though with different kind of dogs, you have different kinds of dogs that like they're not shy. They're very happy. They're very excited. Or sometimes they are sometimes they are shy. Sometimes they can be violent. Sometimes they don't like to be around people. Sometimes they like to be around people. Sometimes they don't like to be around children. Sometimes they really do. Sometimes they really don't. And sometimes with animals, basically in a particular basic kind of way, in basic of different ways. I think there's two different ways to not to make a dog angry. I'll definitely tell you one thing for sure. The first thing is basically that do not ever touch a dog's tail. Sometimes a dog would be okay with it. Sometimes a dog would not be okay with it. I would personally would not to do that. Because if a dog growls and tells you not to touch their tail, do not do that because that's not a very good thing because sometimes they'll snap and they'll bite you and they really can. Now, take as an instance for like when a dog is trying to eat their food. You want to leave that dog alone. That dog don't want to be bothered. You want to leave that dog alone. I'm serious. Because when that dog's eating his chow or eating his food, you want to leave that puppy alone. Leave that dog alone. Because that dog will snap your hand off and stuff like that. But that's if you train the dog to not to do that. But sometimes the dog will probably want not to do that, but sometimes they probably won't. So I want people to basically understand here is basically that when I see the different similarities just basically going on based on this episode, it reminds me basically of a difference between like a real actual animals that's reacting basically to human basically reaction, yes. Because dogs, like I said before, there's different types of dogs. Do dogs like to be greeted by people? They do. They definitely do. One thing I want to say something is very important in basic different aspects that different aspects. When you're being greeted by a dog, you want to make sure you put your hand up. You want to make sure you put your hand up like this to a dog like that, so they can smell you, so they know like if you're a nice person or a threat or anything like that, because they have that sort of scent because that's what they definitely have. If you have like perfume or cologne on stuff like that, they can smell it. They can smell it. They go like, wow, that smells so good because that's just like any other different animals because they can smell. Definitely bugs. Been outside with cologne on base before. I have like a bee. I had like a couple of bees come on, but they didn't sting me or anything like that, and they were just like smelling me. I'm surprised they didn't sting me because they were just curious because they thought it was like some kind of honey. Because when they get attracted to that smell, they probably will think like, oh wow, that's something sweet. Ooh, I gotta taste. I gotta see what that tastes like because they really want to, but it's not like they want to bite or anything like that. They want to know that scent because they want to, because that's what they want. They think it's candy or basically like piece of meat or basically like something or basically like something or basically like something else. And sometimes one thing I would permit basically to me in my own view is personally to me, I would definitely would say is do not feed animal human food because that is not a good thing. Because if you do, then they will prevent it from themselves not eating the food that they should be eating because yes, animals do have a way to beg for food because they smell the food because they think it smells good because they want to eat that also as well too. Do not be mistaken by animal scent. Think about this: bloodhounds. Bloodhounds are very extremely strong dogs. They have very extremely strong scents. Their sense is very strong. They can pretty much smell almost anything that they can pretty much can. They're pretty much basically one of the perfect hunting dogs, pretty much basically, I guess, basically in the world. I definitely do love bloodhounds. Bloodhounds are pretty much one of my favorites. Pugs are one of my favorites because I like their cute face that they really definitely do are, and they have that little curly little tail and stuff like that. I love dogs. I love dogs. I really definitely do. But dogs are very hard to take care of. Very hard to take care of. Now, cats can be hard to take care of also well too. That's if your expertise basically knows how to take care of cats and stuff like that. I think that basically when it brought us based into this episode, I definitely do. I love the premises based on this episode. The growling, the smell, and the scent, the playful, the kind of the nature, and just see like how he's getting so excited. That's just how an animal really reacts and stuff like that. Do a cat react like to a dog? To be honest with you, no, because usually cats don't like to be bothered. They do because they kind of like brush up your legs and stuff like that, and they like give you little headbutts, and sometimes they'll like give you little kisses with their hand. I mean, which on their they'll give you little kisses on your like maybe your face or maybe like your hand because it's the gain of trust. It's the gain of trust. It's the gain that they love you. It's the gain because that's because they appreciate you because that's what they gain basically from you. I definitely do think it's very important to gain a trust based on an animal because if you cannot gain a trust of an animal, guess what? guess what? The animal's just gonna say like, "Hey, I don't like you. I don't want to be around you because I think you're malicious, basically kind of person." I'm just using that base for an example, but basically feels to me. I want a person what I definitely will say here. I definitely think one of the supporting characters. I can't remember his name. He's the one with the white shirt or something like that. Um, he's very acquainted with the beast folk. Uh, the person, Tasiki, I definitely think that's his name, Tasiki. Um, he's very acquainted with it, which I think that I find that very, very unique, and I find that very cute, based on kind of nature. I definitely like Tasiki, based also as well too, where he wags his tail and stuff like that, because that's very typical when you see an animal, basically a dog that wags his tail. Do cats do that? No, they really don't. They have their own different excitements and based on what they view, but are they basically generating nature to base to cats? Not really. They really are not. They're not really based just based on that. I definitely would personally would definitely would say that cats are not related to dogs. Dogs are not related to cats. So I don't want to ramble on too long. I know I kind of ramble on long enough, but I definitely love this episode. I definitely am very shocked to see the aggressive, the nature, basically what you see, basically from the different aspects what an animal that can really basically can do. Can a cat really can do that? No, a cat cannot really basically relate to basically a dog because people will probably say like, why cats are weird. I don't know. They're just weird. That's just what they are. They do weird things. Our dogs are weird. Basically, the way I guess we would probably say yes, but I think dogs are very intelligent. They're very very smart. They have their own ruthless of their nature, and they have that. But when they get the growl and stuff like that, that's a warning. That's a warning. That this tell they tells you like leave them alone. If they bark at you, you better just go somewhere else. That means you better just avoid them. Because if they're barking at you and whatever it is whatever that is and stuff like that, and they're showing that aggressive nature, you don't want to be around them. I'm serious. I'm not joking. You don't want to be around them. So I definitely do think this episode was definitely a good representation. The similarities based on how a dog reacts, how they get excited, and how the nature based of that. And I definitely appreciate based of that because I really definitely like that. Now, one thing I definitely want to say here is basically that I definitely will say again that I don't want people to really think I support bestiality, but I would definitely personally what definitely will say is that I don't think that we shouldn't judge or anything like that or anything like that. I know this is just an anime. I know it really actually is. But to be honest with you, I think it's definitely wrong just for just for using animal as pleasure, using animal as pleasure because it's gross. That's just my opinion. That's what I definitely do think. A lot of people definitely do like that. Just doesn't work that way. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion, but that's just what I definitely think. But anyways, that's it for this anime review. Tell me you guys like this episode, you guys don't like it. What you guys' premises about what I said based on this review. And so yeah, so forth and so forth. So yeah. Anyways, it's anyway, so I'll see you guys there. Take care. Hope you get on one day. Don't forget to subscribe. Please consider subscribing. Please like and give me a thumbs up or give me a thumbs down. Doesn't matter to me. Thumbs up or thumbs down doesn't matter to me. And please, if it comes along. And with that, love you guys. Take care. I really hope you guys one day. And I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.